It's currently snowing outside here in the Midwest, and I am freaking loving it. I don't have to feel like I have to go out there. I can stay in here and work on videos. It's fantastic. This is great. I can sit right here, wear something nice up here for these face cam stuff. Down here, you're lucky I'm wearing pants. But today, I want to talk about a show that I have watched recently. And it's a spinoff of a popular show called The Boys. Now, usually when I see a spinoff, I don't bother. I stay away from that because usually it's a stupid cash grab. They're just trying to make more money off a franchise that already did really good. It's just not worth it to watch. But this one, I gave it a chance and I freaking loved it. The show is Gen V. GENV. And it has kind of a stupid premise, to be honest. It's basically the boys, but in a college, right? You would think, oh, this is one of those stupid spin-offs where, they're just making the show, but younger people. But no, this one has all new characters, all new story, and the school doesn't really, the school does matter in the broad scheme of things, but in reality, it doesn't. They don't do any school stuff. It's not some corny high school, college, the freaking sitcom feeling kind of show. No, it's very dramatic, very epic. I highly recommend watching it. But let's dive into it. I believe season 2 ended, I don't know, maybe a year ago or something. It's really, really good. It correlates with The Boys, by the way. So, I will probably spoil some things, vaguely spoil some things in this video. We'll see what happens. Just a heads up, there may be spoilers. So, that could happen. But the show starts off kind of similar to The Boys with some crazy scene that just, sets the tone. If you've watched The Boys before, that starts off with Huey and his girlfriend. They stand outside. Then all of a sudden, Huey's girlfriend gets just killed by A-Train. A-Train runs right through here. Well, this show shows our main character, which is Marie Maru. I don't know. Her name is kind of. I don't know why her name is so hard for me. We're just going to call her Marie because I'm pretty sure that's what they call her. But her last name's like Maru or Moreau. I don't know. Starts off with her when she's younger. And she's, hanging out with her siblings, Then she goes to the bathroom, like normal. Now she's at the age where she hits puberty, right? So she's, really surprised. There's, I don't really know anything because I'm a man, but there's blood coming out of there. So she's, freaking out, and all of a sudden she, starts controlling the blood, I believe. And that's her power. Because in this universe, there's this thing called V, which, the parents or, scientists, they would put it into kids or something, or babies, or in the pregnant women, they would put it into the, I'm trying to think of the word here, but basically they make these kids into superheroes so they grow up and eventually they get these powers. Well, she finally got those powers for the first time while she was, looking at the period blood or whatever, and since it's blood, that's her superpower. Is controlling blood, which is really, really gross, but it gets cool, kind of. But in the super dramatic scene in the very beginning, it sets the tone. Her parents come in to help, and she's like, no, stop it. She's almost, embarrassed that, she's either going through her period for the first time, or it's the powers, probably the powers. But, she's freaking out and stuff, being all emotional. And eventually, one of her parents gets in, and she kills him on accident. Accidentally kills her own parent. She's 12 or 13. Then her other parent comes in, freaking out, trying to see what's going on. She kills that one immediately. Both her parents dead. In the first scene of the show. That's nuts. That is crazy. Then her sister walks in and is just scarred. Scarred. She knows that her sister killed her parents, and it's just mind-blowing. Such a typical start for this kind of show and this kind of universe. I love how they do that. They make sure to set the tone. They make sure to really hook, line, and sinker you with something super dramatic and crazy. Watch the show. It's so good. But eventually I'm not going to talk about every little detail of every episode and stuff. I'm going to talk about things I thought were interesting. Eventually, she goes to like this orphanage place, and there's all this drama and stuff that I can't explain that well, really, to especially to people that haven't watched it before. Because I know the show isn't popular. I know you all thought like I did. I know you did. You thought, oh, it's a silly little spin-off. I'm not going to bother watching that, which is valid. There's a lot of garbage spin-offs out there. This one's worth it. This one is one that you should watch. No doubt about it. But yeah, this one's pretty good. So she ends up going to college. She gets, I believe, she gets accepted. She has to like send in like videos, not videos, but I forget how exactly she gets in. Something interesting about her though is she never had a phone when she was a kid and never had any of this technology. And something cool about the boys universe is that superheroes, they're very, what's cool about this universe, I should say, is that it tries to make it realistic to real life. What would superheroes be like in real life? What would it be like if, superheroes were being created, not all of them are equal and stuff? Well, a lot of them have social media, and a lot of them, their whole career is based on how popular can I get? Can I make money? From acting or filmmaking or just being in stupid TikToks or Instagrams or whatever, or YouTube like this. Imagine how many subs I would have if I had a superpower. I'd be super popular. But Marie didn't have any of that. And so when she wanted to, go take the cool class where you actually fight crime, because that's what she wanted to do, is fight crime. That's her whole goal in life, is to fight crime and to someday prove to her sister that she isn't that bad. By the way, her and her sister get split up completely. So she wants to find her sister and prove to her sister that she is not as evil as her sister may think she is, because, well, she killed both their parents. So it's really, really interesting, because now she's like wanting to like prove to the dean or the headmaster, whatever, the principal, that she can go into this crime fighting class. She can do it. But the principal doesn't think so. Mostly because she doesn't have followers or something like that. Something along those lines. Because that's an important thing in this superhero world, is followers and how popular you are. Again, I can't explain everything because a lot of this is based on the Boys universe, where in the Boys, this company called Vought, they don't control all the superheroes, but they bring in the money, they help, give them attention and stuff. And a big thing with Vought is they make movies too. They make these superheroes super popular so they can sell merchandise and all that. I don't know about any of the actual crime fighting. They really don't do a whole lot of crime fighting and saving. When they do, they make sure it's all on camera for the most part, so they can make money, so they can get the heroes popular. You will learn from watching The Boys and Gen V that it's all about popularity, it's all about attention, which is so interesting, especially when like real bad things happen and people want to do real bad stuff to get rid of the heroes, or to get attention, or to get control. Now, I should say real quick that this movie is not for children, because there is some very, very deep topics. Not movie, sorry. This TV show is not for children. There's some very, very deep topics in this one. There's suicide, there's just a whole bunch of stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of really, really deep aspects to the show, mental health and all that. Now, I can't say I love everything about the show, because that's me. I can't be positive about everything. There is some small things I didn't really like. One of the main things with the show, later on in season 1 and for most of season 2, is this other character named Jordan, whose powers I don't really understand too well. The main premise of Jordan is that they can change genders from male to female, which is interesting, I guess. I mean, I think they have strength. I think that's what their big power is, but I don't know about the other thing they do. But they and Marie, get into a relationship, but it's the way they got into a relationship. Now listen, I have no problem with transgender, gay, lesbian, whatever, because I just don't care what people do with themselves. I don't care what people do. You do you, boo. That's what I say. I don't care what people do with their free time. I'm not one of those people that will tell people how to live their lives. So I have no problem with Marie, a female, getting together with a transgender, which she's not. They are not actually a transgender. I think they said that once. That's just their superpower, is that they can change genders. So I mean, technically, I don't really know. The show doesn't explain it too well, but yeah, they get into a relationship. But what I don't like is how forced it felt. One moment they were arguing about something. It seemed like they did not like each other, but they were starting to come to a bit of an agreement, right? And then all of a sudden they kiss. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. Like what? What? Can I have a little bit of build up? What the heck? They just kiss out of absolutely nowhere. They like almost had, they never had like a good conversation. Maybe like once they had like a positive joking conversation. That's about it. I mean, it felt like a bit too, forced, like I didn't really love that too much at all, but whatever. And there were a few times that I feel like, it was a little, the writing was a little strange. One time, my favorite character, Andre, which by the way, very sad. Okay, I'm gonna get you guys ready for this. Andre, his actor ends up dying between season 1 and season 2. So don't get attached to Andre like I did, because I really liked his character, really enjoyed his character. I thought he was funny, very emotional. But unfortunately, in real life, his actor died in a motorcycle accident. So in season 2, there is no Andre, which very, very sad. But I believe in season 1, because the only season he was in, he gets caught by like the security guard who like shoots like a, doesn't shoot, but he plays like this supersonic sound, which I didn't know heroes had a weakness to until now. And then the show made it very clear that that's a weakness. Because here's what happened. He plays the supersonic sound to stop Andre, who has superpowers. So he is affected by the sonic sound. But the security guard, he's like, "Ha! I bet you didn't know that affects you." No, he said, "Ha! I bet you didn't know, a high decibel can affect you or stun you. I bet you didn't know that. Ha ha, I got you." He like says that out loud. Like, why? Why did you need to state to you and the one other security guard, "I got you, and this is why"? Like, that felt a little strange, Like, I think we get the hints, although that's never been a thing ever. And the boys, like, you can stop superheroes with this really loud noise. Is that going to be a thing for forever? And did they get that off of Invincible season 3? Because that's how they that's how they stop Mark Grayson. So we'll see where they go with that, in the next season of The Boys, and if they have a Gen V season 3, we'll see where that goes, because apparently that's a good way to stop superheroes, but maybe that's just a baloney, it works because that's what the script needed, which I'm not a huge fan of, kind of lazy, not gonna lie. I'm almost done blabbering about the show. There's one more thing, and I believe you've heard me before, Amazing Digital Circus, Invincible. There's always, a show's good whenever it makes you think, when it makes you want to debate on morality and, if someone is deserving forgiveness. And in this show, it has that. No doubt about it. With Kate Dunlap, I believe that's her last name. I'm not too sure. But there's a character named Kate, and she's done so much bad stuff. Her superpower is actually very, very overpowered, where she can touch someone and tell them what to do. And they'll do it. They have to do it. It's like mind control, which is crazy. But she's done so much messed up crap controlling people, making people stop feeling. Like a drug, almost. That's actually how a character commits suicide. There's a character named Luke who was with Kate, and he was going through a lot of depression because of a whole bunch of other stuff. There's so much stuff to explain. You just gotta watch it, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make this an hour-long video, but he's going through some emotional stuff. He asked his girlfriend, Kate, to make him feel nothing, to make him forget about it. And then she doesn't, which must drive him insane. It must drive him absolutely crazy. And then there's other times where Kate makes him forget things because she's working with the bad guys. There's so much to explain. Like, whoops, I just kicked my light. But, yeah. But she ends up kind of getting with the good guys again. So basically what happens, she's with the good guys, but she's backstabbing them with the bad guys, but then she wants to be back with the good guys, but then she backstabs again, I believe, but then somehow she gets back with the good guys. But that sounds very basic and plain, but there's a lot to it. I don't fully forgive her. I really don't. I think she sucks. But that's what the show's trying to do, is make you think, is she good? Is she bad? Do I like her? Do I not? I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't trust her. No way, Jose. Bad. No good. Bad business. But yeah. And another thing the show is really, really good at is making things a mystery. I was almost forgetting to mention this, but one of the good things about this show is that, especially in season 2, it tries to make you wonder what's actually going on. This show could be like a mystery film, because you're really just trying to figure out what the motives are. What are they trying to do? There's one bad guy in season 2 who I was just trying to figure out what his power is. What can he do? At one point, they're like, oh, he has no... Oh, I'm just realizing why. I don't want to spoil anything for season 2, but, Marie looks into his bloodstream, because she can do that. She can control blood and stuff. Looks into his bloodstream and is like, oh, he has no Gem V in his blood. Not Gem V, sorry. He has no V, which is the chemical that goes into people to make them superheroes. He has no V in his blood. So, they think, oh, he has no powers, but he does. There's a bit of a twist at the end of the show, so you need to watch it yourself. But, yeah, you're just trying to figure out what his powers are. What's his deal? What's he trying to do? And that is what is so great about the show, is there's a lot of mystery to it. You're trying to figure out what's going on. And the show gives that to you at the very end of each season. They tell you what's going on. So it's not like there's any crazy cliffhangers. There's so much in my mind about what I could talk about in this show, but I'm already recording for 20 minutes. I'm going to have to maybe cut this down a little bit. This show has so much to it. It's only been 2 seasons. I'm hoping for a season 3, and I'm assuming it'll correlate with the next season of The Boys. By the way, we will talk about The Boys. Whenever that season comes out, we will be talking about it. No doubt about it. I love that show so much. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a good one. It's snowing outside. I don't know where you live, obviously. But, stay warm. Peace.